Podcast for the common folk.
Podcast for the common folk. Wah, wah, wah. We got ourselves a mystery today. And I'm out in the perfect area to be doing this, by the way. And I'll be having more UFO radio type shit, too. And there's conspiracies. Because there's got to be some real ass shit. And there's got to be some stuff that we don't know. And there's stuff that we can learn. And there's pieces that we could put together. And there's a good bit of information there that I have to convey to you. Oh, I know. You go on to listen to my podcast. You wanted entertainment and distraction from the world, not listening. Well, yeah, pretend it's utilize the time and let the time go through. And it'll maybe reset your day. Maybe make you feel better. Teach you a little bit about aliens, how the government works. Or not at all. There's something I think is really kind of interesting, too. Is alien... discoveries and stuff really didn't, or at least UFO sightings, I guess we should really say, didn't start popping up till about the later 1950s. And I'm only saying that just because a majority of these documents starts in the 1950s. 1955, 1954, 1956, 1959, 1955, 1956, 1958, 1957. Two more of the 1957s. It's these 1950s and stuff. And I'm thinking this is pretty good because World War II ends in 1945. So that is the ended with, in Japan. So that is more of the from that on is a technological advancement period of which our government and of course, Russia, we're in the Cold War. Both of us are trying to send, people to space, try to make our money, try to do whatever we got to do to beat the other country without beating them in like war or anything else. And so that happened, and that would lead a lot of these to that because jet engines was just becoming a big thing. The United States had gone in and taken up a bunch of Nazi scientists and stuff, so we were experimenting with rocket and jet engines ourselves. Russia had their equivalent. Everybody's sitting here trying to make it to the top, and they're all this huge technological race, a bunch of innovation, and it's just really one of those... It was one of those really motivated times to really try to better science and stuff too. And now with, a lot of that motivated for luxuries, motivated for, the thirst for knowledge, for power, for war, for health and medicine, for the fact that it's science, for the pursuit of knowledge itself, without ever bothering why we should, without just figuring out and saying we should just do it because we can. All these type of big life philosophical questions, that everything comes on together, and this is all kicking off right then. So the fact that there are these UFO sightings shouldn't mean too much in terms of aliens, only because there's so much testing and stuff. Now, the government sets huge parameters in order to avoid, because the whole point of this is to avoid it and keep it out of earshot of the other governments and intelligence agencies. And they're doing their damnedest to take a look at stuff that, and go into places where they shouldn't be poking around, and we're doing the same. And so notice that a lot of these are, should be hidden. So, but also when you have people, you have new technology, so you have new ways of looking for, you have new, it's one of those things that was bound to happen. As your infrastructure improves upon that, it's going to be a lot easier for people to be able to see shit. Now, it's kind of funny is a lot of these don't have too many witnesses and all that kind of stuff, but if you think about it through life, nothing like that ever has witnesses. It's just how it is. It could be real or not. Whether it happens to you, whether it's a UFO sighting, whether it's something weird in your house, it's that one time when you're online playing video games and you're having a really good kill-death ratio, or... maybe some other type of video game, you're like, you do it for somebody. Jack shit. And that's just how it works. And so that's with UFO sightings, with Bigfoot sightings. You only get kind of weird-ass footage and stuff, too. But let's be honest, if you first saw it, it took you a minute to recognize what you saw. Then you need to get to your camera. You're going to be quick. You're going to be kind of fumbling about, nervous. It's not going to look that good anyways, just because it's so weird and you're so focused and you're so in the moment that, no matter what, you can't recapture the full variables and everything that led up to that moment. Because that's another thing. Hiking alone in the forest and drinking beers has a perception alterance, as one might have guessed. Maybe one might not have guessed. But basically, just sometimes you get to drinking and the stars start to move, and sometimes UFO sightings are reported in it. So you have to factor that in with the government testing when what actually might be visiting UFOs and aliens from other planets. So, and I think there is. The odds are that we're the only source of life. Like, it's not impossible. It's not. It's the universe is so vast. It's just hard to believe that the right conditions replicated. Now, obviously, if you take a look at the odds and the Earth happening to create life and like that, it's very, very, very 1 in a million type of stuff, and that's how it goes with the universe. But then, on such a broad spectrum, 1 in a million isn't exactly as it's rare, and it's more rare on a cosmic scale. But since you're the result of it happening, it's happened instantly, and you're just going to think about it, and you think that it has other stuff. If this is how it goes, it's the kind of human perception of stuff like that. Like, oh, what are the odds of that happening? And when it happens to you, that's not really what you're thinking about. When it doesn't happen to you, all you're thinking about how it's not happening. And it's one of those, like, there's no way of knowing, like, well, what if life didn't develop on Earth? Well, then I wouldn't be sitting here bullshitting to you, all right, talking with my foot in my mouth, talking about aliens and UFOs and the 1 in a million chance that Earth is formed because the sun exploded somewhere else and sent a rocket to another sun, and then this, then that, then this, then that, and it's all this kind of shit that, gets everybody wound up. And so don't worry about it. Worry about the fact that Earth is here. We are here right now. You are listening to this stuff. And there is a bunch of military tests. What's funny about this is that a lot of these sources sometimes don't exactly go directly straight to the government. If some of these people, they're more than willing to put it on the news, and that's a lot of what that media is there for, to put it out there. And then so all of a sudden you have the government there trying to get a handle on what's going on, and the media. That is just a battling situation of two different groups going at it for two different motivations, two different end games, two different, motivation for being there, or objectives to complete, in a sense. One to let know, one to figure out what the fuck's going on. And it's really hard to do that. You gotta feel bad for those guys right on the scene. Oh, so what is all this? We don't know. Are you confirming that there is aliens? I'm told to push you away while they figure the fuck out. Take from that statement what you will. Okay, well, why are you not answering? Because I'm bored and I'm tired and I don't feel like talking to you. And boot camp, okay? I don't know. Leave me alone, all right? You got to feel bad for those poor little soldiers, those cops that are right on the scene. Like, we just start, okay? Give me a chance to earn my stripes and colors. All right, and then it's when the stripes and colors guys walk through, and then you start asking them questions. They're like, okay, yeah, I'm good. All right, I ain't a genie. Well, what does my grandmother like to say? Wipe the forehead and be like, hey, look at the forehead. Does it say God? All right, no, okay, but even if it were God, it's going to say God on there. You don't need to be that obvious, not even God's like that, all right? I get it, blah, 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 blah. Moving on. She's sitting there going, hey, it looks like a flying saucer, okay? So are aliens real? I don't know. Let me walk up and knock. I mean, they'll put a hazmat suit on it, but ideally, the fuck else are we gonna do? Just give it a tap. What if it's a bomb? Well, then give it a tap. And you got some private out there in a hazmat suit just going, oh, fuck me, fuck me, fuck me, fuck me. And then he starts tapping on it, and then, either it opens up and veils or it falls apart and you find a bunch of innards. One of these things, a finding in 1956, they had an argument or a magazine in Vienna talking about a crashed UFO. A crashed flying saucer. And so everybody's like, well, what's going on? And of course, this causes action for the U.S. government, and they all hop in there. And then they open up to find a radio transmitted drone. And it had a range of anything like they had ever want. They said, and it had Russian letters in it, and it had this plutonium-powered radio transmitter, which would have been about what we are, because both of us are experiencing with forms of power and how to export that power and utilize it. That would be one of those ones. And you put a plutonium core right on the source, you can power quite a bit and create things that you didn't think you could. Have to do it carefully. Obviously, there's lots of tests, and it crashed. So it crashed. Nice. But how did our government find out about it? They had to go to the magazine and get the location, and then go to the location. They can obviously, as they quote right here, reach through their channels, but it's not like, one country's going to be that willing, and especially at this time, since that's Vienna, which is Austria, which is part of the Soviet Union at this time, so it's Russia, our mortal enemies in the Cold War, and we're sitting here going just like, oh, shit. They're not going to tell us a damn thing. But with the Russian letters on and the fact that it was a drone and no alien anything was, not that aliens don't have drones, more that just this was more likely a drone testing. And that, but also we pull our technology from science fiction. Who are the guys that create that? Those are the nerds that get into that. So they see a flying saucer or something like that. That's where they're going to draw their creativeness and their inspiration from. So not only that, but we are both feeding and creating this culture of UFOs being, flying saucers, or technology moving into a slick, very defined, very looked, very, already, defined and already, made up type of future that we're going towards with all this in technology. And we're already going towards what we see. So maybe there isn't UFOs. Maybe they look completely something else. Okay, we do know that there are advantages to a circle, and to being a saucer, and to any type of power conservity and power flying, movement capabilities, what known physics tells us. But, that doesn't, that's just to the limit of our knowledge, like we said, but we feed it ourselves. There's an idea that, maybe they're all flying around in like these kind of oval, really, extreme aerodynamic type of vehicles going through space and stuff too. Maybe flying saucers are just not a thing at all. I mean, that's completely stupid. Maybe we're the ones to put it. Or maybe they all look like flying sombreros out there. And I only put that out just because if you think about it, it's a big enough saucer, it would have to at least have some kind of outer base to kind of push into secure, structurally speaking, to be compact, sound. And, it would kind of look like a sombrero. And it'd be kind of weird to see something like that, though. Although it wouldn't exactly be like that, too. I mean, it's really hard to comprehend, and it's hard to think and imagine that and describe it in such detail, just because there's still so many space factors and stuff controlling that we have no idea. In terms of flying, in terms of speed, being able to react to speed. And then you got to separate the propellers on the inside from the outside, like you're making a submarine, into how they going to react at the speed. How do you protect them from both forces that you can protect, control, and forces that you cannot control? And it's just one of those, it's all these, like, sitting there and it's, damn, you're getting really into it. I tell you what, though, no, I'm not really. I'm just being very smartly vague, okay? But just think about it for a minute. There are variables, some outside of control, some not. And when you go to problem solving, you have to consider all variables in relation to the theme of your problem. And, you have to take everything into account as, depending on where you're trying to get to from point A to B, or what you're trying to accomplish. And that's just thinking, is all that is, or being kind of common sense in a sense. But also, there's really no common sense when it comes to space travel, because there's really no common knowledge other than what we have right now, which are type of shuttles and stuff. And those obviously don't look like UFOs. But it's always fun to think that an advanced species is figured out, because that's about as best we come up with. I don't know, somehow they got plates to fucking fly, alright? And it worked, and it works for them. We're going to stick with our giant knife raptor drones, and it's going to look like an arrow, it's going to look like some other things, and it's going to be kind of funny, and it's going to fly, go real fast, right into space. That's what they do this. And I know that they also form committees. They got the Department of Secretary of Defense, and this is one of the documents that talks about the first, in 1952, they talk about, okay, we need to do something about these sightings of unexplained objects as the number of unexplained objects rises in terms of, number of sightings exponentially over a matter of months, not even years, just months. And then it picks up from there. So, world's crazy. And the United States is like, okay, well, we need to do something about this now, rather than just it's, our kind of battle testing, whether it's our type of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know yet. And I also know CIA was built to kind of predict this, just because in times of war, which is when the CIA was created, or at least right after, with war in still recent memory, the idea is to get the head up on the enemy. So a lot of that involves technological advance. So there's a struggle to find out whether it's, maybe there are aliens, or maybe, more logically there are, and not that more logically is the better option. It's just that during that time frame, it would make sense that if there was a lot of UFO sightings that were mistaken for alien sightings, that ended up being just, some Russian dude or some American dude, or, some kind of variation, guy that has an allegiance to one or the other, trying to test some shit and, be money. Because in the end, they're kind of doing, some do it for the want, and those are the ones that usually get there. But some do it for the money and stuff, and find ways to market it and move on. That's kind of how, if you think about it, like Stark and in the Marvel comics and stuff, how that kind of idea, a weapons company that generates and stuff, that's how it goes. If you find a way to do that, there's money in it, and that's in human nature at the moment. And there's benefits and gains and pros and cons to advancing. And as the technology clears out old problems, new ones come in to fight the new technology. And you didn't really ask me or listen to any of that, because we all know that already. That's just kind of common knowledge. What we don't know is that they officially created a committee July 29th of 1952, and they said, okay, we now need a committee, and we got the former defense secretaries, these generals and stuff, and we're going to come together, and we're going to figure this out. All right, we have recent sightings of unexplained objects, folks. Okay. What do we do? I don't know. Let's form a committee of a bunch of nerds, give them some $1 billion, give them some labs out in the desert somewhere, and give them some pictures and some bullshit military credentials that'll get them access to places where they probably need to go to check this, but not really make them do anything, and stick a guy out there from time to time and figure it out and see if they come up with anything fruitful worth our time. If not, just throw billions there until we decide that we want to make school systems worse or something by giving more tests, and somehow that costs more money. Good idea. All right, we all in agreement? Yeah, I'm looking around the room. Nobody, no naysayers. Okay, you're all a bunch of dumbasses here. Okay, let's go. And thus the committee to find these and explain these unidentified objects and unexplained objects, I guess is how they get labeled as they go down, and more just kind of sightings, has been formed. Okay? They talk about it. They have a paper here, a request. Because of the recent sightings of all this, we need to do a report, and we need to kind of reassess things and figure out where we at in terms of unexplained objects, what we can, what we're not, what we're worried about, and threats to the United States. Okay. So I think that's a pretty reasonable idea. You form this committee, you want to know what the fuck's going on. Okay, that's a great idea. I like this. Alrighty. So, what's the first act as the committee? We need to order a report. Okay. That's fine. Note also that they admit in a lot of these about establishing the meetings, like we need to get on the Security Council, we need an established program rather than waiting it. There will be a great deal of formal high-level paper pushing before taking action. There's a lot of odds and ends and I's and T's to dot and cross. We're going to create a committee, and we need a report. Okay, this was started in October. No. This is just later. Okay, let's go. All right, no. This is October. October 20th or 21st is when this report starts. And they said it's 2021 because they don't know when both of the meetings are. We'll start diving into this. One of these guys, Dr. Walter G. Whitman. Walter. Anyways, chairman of these seems to be brought up a lot. So it seems that he seems to have some involvement. So maybe I get to go a little bit of diving in and seeing what the hell's going on with this Walter dude. But they need to create a report, and guys like, okay, how long do you estimate a report to be taking? We're going to start a report. We estimate that official report can be done by August 1956. So in October 21st, 1955, they're like, okay, we need to do something about this. We need a report. Okay, when is that report done? Which, by the way, having to give at your own deadline to be just like, hey, when's that report done? Oh shit, when am I gonna finish this? I don't fucking know. August of next year, because it's October, past August of this year, and I would like some time to break, and it's football season. Fair enough. That gives him baseball and all kinds of stuff to move on in there. We'll move right in there, and he'll end it with a little bit of the going to the World Series, but that'll give him some motivation. He probably won't really find much. And the reports are inconclusive. At least that's what one of these redacted places say. There is a lot of these where just like, oh, it's just shitty. It's just like, oh, I think this said something you just really didn't feel like putting out, but you didn't really want to erase it, so you just made it shitty. Which is something the CIA would do. Podcast for the common folk. We have more UFOs coming at you, all that. We got some more stuff coming out this week every day. Okay. UFOs, aliens, and then we'll get into some rather other shit and comedy and random ass stuff again, because that's really what people like. Ooh, all right, podcast for comfort. Podcast for the common